What's up, YouTube Revolution? ZombfectedGaming 349 at your fingertips. So today I'll be reviewing The Last of Us Season 1 Episode 6, titled Kin. Again, I can't do anything about having these reviews up so late. It's already been a week since this episode aired, but here we are doing it today. I'm gonna try to explain this episode the fastest way possible, so if I forget small details, it's alright. So this episode begins about 3 months after Henry and Sam's death, and it's the winter time now. We see this Native American old man going home after a rabbit hunt and goes into his house and sees Joel interrogating him and his wife. Joel is wanting to know the whereabouts where his brother is, but they don't know who he is. Joel wants to know where the exact way he should go, and the native guy says, go east. The Native American guy and his Native American wife says going past the river is dangerous and tons of death is over there. Joel also asks about where the Fireflies is, and they don't understand. They think Joel is talking about the Firefly bug, and Joel says no, they are people, and they are confused saying there's Firefly people? So the reason this Native American couple don't understand what Joel and Ellie is talking about is because they've been staying in this area in the middle of nowhere even before the apocalypse started. They like to keep themselves distant away from any American civilization. But after, when Joel and Ellie leave, Ellie decides to steal one of the rabbits that the Native American guy hunted. After that, Joel is seeming off, and Ellie is all concerned, and all Joel says is just some cold air, but most likely he is getting tired and winded because of this long journey and some PTSD. After Joel and Ellie get to the River of Death, and they decide to camp out for the night and eat. Ellie gets to see the beautiful northern lights as well. After, Ellie comes back down to sit with Joel by the fire, and Ellie asks how will her cure work when they get to the Fireflies. She asks if they will use her blood and put it into a machine and possibly make a cure that way. Ellie asks if the vaccine will work, and Joel says it's a little too late to be asking these types of questions. Ellie says this, she tried with Sam, and Joel says, tried what? She knew Sam was bitten, and she cut her hand to put her blood into his bite and possibly save him, but it didn't work. But after Joel and Ellie get some sleep, Ellie wakes up first thing in the morning to take watch, and Joel notices Ellie was up first, and he didn't like that because he said he is responsible for her and he should take watch instead of her. After Joel and Ellie cross the River of Death, but everything is actually safe. Funny part is, during this, Ellie is trying to learn how to whistle, but just blows air instead, just like in the video game. Joel says, you don't know how to whistle, and she says, of course I don't know how to whistle. Ellie also asks Joel how to teach her how to hunt. After that, Joel and Ellie make it to a dam, and Ellie says, so that's what makes electricity, and Joel says, yeah. But Joel says, don't ask because I don't got a clue. After, Joel and Ellie run into tons of people on horseback and are threatened at gunpoint, and these people on horseback are extremely harsh about it. Joel is told to drop his gun, and the people on horseback send out their dog to sniff Joel to see if he is infected. After, it goes to sniff Ellie, and Joel is extremely scared and hopes the dog doesn't know that she is infected with the cordyceps. The dog sniffs Ellie but doesn't know she was infected and starts licking her instead, thank God. After everything is all good, the man on horseback says, what are you doing out here? And Joel says he is looking for his brother, nothing more. But after, this African American woman asks, what's your name to Joel? And after, they notice that Joel is related to Tommy because he is with the guys on horseback. After, they bring Joel and Ellie to their home, and the place is Jackson, the nice peaceful town. Joel notices Tommy, and Tommy comes down and has a heartfelt reunion with Joel. After, Joel and Ellie are invited to have dinner by Tommy and his wife, and the African American woman is actually Maria. Bit of a race swap from the game, but I actually don't mind it. She kind of looks like Michonne from The Walking Dead. And Joel says, this is a really good meal. And Ellie says, this is a effing awesome meal. I never had anything this good in my life. and Joel says sorry to both Tommy and Maria. Joel says to Ellie, let's mind our manners. After some girl is staring at Ellie, and Ellie notices that, and she says, what to her, and she runs off. This girl staring at Ellie is believed to be Dina from The Last of Us Part 2 video game and actually looks a lot like her. Also, Ellie asks for her gun back, but Maria says kids here are unarmed. Ellie says, well, those guys tried to kill us. Tommy says, well, we just gotta be careful. We just got off a bit on the wrong foot. We are using some bark to scare off anybody who could be a potential threat. Joel says to Maria, thank you for your hospitality, but asks, can me and Tommy have a little family private time so I can talk to him about something? Tommy says Maria is actually family, and Ellie says, you're together, congrats, and Ellie tells Joel to say congrats as well. After Tommy asks to Joel and Ellie, how about a little tour? So Tommy and Maria shows Joel and Ellie around Jackson, and Tommy says there's a bit of infected that wander from cities and come by, but not much because it's so much open country out here. Also, Joel and Ellie get to see the farm with tons of sheep. Ellie asks Maria if she is in charge, and she says no one person is in charge. Maria says she is democratically elected on the council. Ellie probably asked this question because she is so used to growing up in a QZ under authoritarian dictatorship by Fedra. Joel asks Tommy about if it's communism, but Tommy says no, it ain't like that. After Maria says it actually is that, we are a commune, we are communists, and Tommy looks at Maria all confused. I know Maria was actually joking about this because the word commune and communist almost sound the same. The town Jackson as a commune is actually the meaning of people who live and work together and share responsibilities equally, so this is by far not a communist dictatorship at all. But definitely a great joke by Maria. After Ellie notices a baby horse named Shimmer, and this is actually the exact same horse Ellie and Dina rode in The Last of Us Part 2 video game. But after this, Joel and Tommy decide to catch up while Ellie and Maria go and hang out. Joel and Tommy have a drink, and Tommy asks Joel how's Tess doing, and Joel lies by saying she's fine. Tommy asks who's Ellie, and Joel lies by saying she is the daughter of some firefly and that's why they are looking for the fireflies. Tommy says to Joel leaving and going to find the fireflies is suicidal, and Joel says, well, if you come, it would be a big help. But Tommy says he can't go. Joel says, why, is it because your wife won't let you? And Tommy talks about all the bad stuff they did years ago and doesn't want to do any of that again. Joel also says the last few months he had to go through to get to Jackson wasn't easy, and Tommy says he is gonna be a father. Tommy says to Joel he feels like he is gonna be a good dad, and Joel says, guess we'll find out. Tommy immediately sounds pissed off about this and says to Joel, just because life stopped for you doesn't mean it has to stop for me. After Joel leaves Tommy's bar all disappointed and barges out the door. After Joel is going through his little PTSD and holds onto a pole and notices a girl that looks like his daughter Sarah. He notices the girl that looks like Sarah has a daughter that looks like Sarah as well, and it indicates that Joel is thinking about how if Sarah was still alive 20 years later, that Joel could have been a grandpa. This part makes you feel really bad for Joel and makes the tears really flow. But after Ellie has a shower and gets all cleaned up and notices a woman's menstrual monthly instructions pamphlet on the bed, and Ellie is like, oh gross. After Ellie goes to Maria and Tommy's house to go see her, and she doesn't answer the door, and Ellie lets herself in. Ellie notices a board with two names on it. One side says Kevin, the other side says Sarah. It says Kevin was born on April 3rd, 2000, and died September 29th, 2003. This is Maria's son. For Sarah, she was born on July 20th, 1989, and died September 27th, 2003, which is of course Joel's daughter and Tommy's niece. After Maria comes home and gives Ellie a nice new purple jacket and decides to give Ellie's hair a nice trim. Ellie asks Maria if this was her job back then, and Maria says she was a district attorney in Omaha, Nebraska. Ellie also says sorry about your kids on the memorial board, and Maria says just kid. Sarah was Joel's daughter. After Maria says let's go somewhere, and Ellie says where, and Maria says the movies. The cool part is, Jackson has their own movie theater and tons of kids are there watching as well, getting to experience a normal life with eating popcorn. Also, Ellie noticed Tommy leave the movie theater to go have a conversation with Joel. Joel is actually trying to fix his worn and torn boots, and Tommy gets Joel some brand new boots. After Joel finally tells Tommy the truth about Ellie by saying she is actually immune, that's why he needs to get her to the Fireflies. Also, Joel tells Tommy about how Marlene was the one to hire both Joel and Tess to smuggle Ellie to the Fireflies, and Tess got bit and died. Joel tells Tommy it was Tess's dying wish to get Joel to get Ellie to the Fireflies and maybe make a vaccine happen. Joel also talks to Tommy about how he has dreams of failing Sarah to the night she died, and he fears that he might fail Ellie as well. Joel tells Tommy he should be the one to take Ellie to the Fireflies since he is younger than him. Also, so Tommy's kid can be brought into a better world after a possible cure can be made. Tommy says to Joel he will take Ellie out at dawn. After Joel goes to find Ellie in this house in a bedroom and she is reading a diary, a girl written from the regular days. Ellie says, is this all they had to worry about, deciding which shirt goes with which skirt? I'll actually let the scene from my most recent The Last of Us Monday stream of The Last of Us Part 1 play, but also the scene from the show plays in the corner at the same time. Dina was actually in the episode.
And if I say no?
She was that girl that Ellie said, what are you looking at?
Realize what your life means?
That was actually Dina.
Huh? Running off like that, putting yourself at risk, it's pretty goddamn stupid.
Well, I guess we're both disappointed with each other then.
What exactly do you want from me?
Admit that you wanted to get rid of me the whole time.
Tommy knows this area.
Oh, fuck that.
I'm sorry, I trust him better than I trust myself.
Stop with the bullshit. What are you so afraid of? That I'm gonna end up like Sam? I can't get infected. I can take care of myself.
How many close calls have we had?
Well, we seem to be doing all
Police
right.
has gained superpowers through stem cells in South Park.
Yeah.
Not her, you know. Maria told me about Sarah.
Ellie?
Session 2 helping.
Yeah.
Mighty thin ice here.
Yeah, season 2. Episode 6 actually sets up season 2 for, The Last of Us Part 2 storyline.
Everyone I have cared for has either died or left me. Everyone fucking except for you.
Either died or left.
So don't tell me that I would be safe with someone else, because the truth is I would just be
Tell me
more
that I'd
scared.
be safe with somebody else, because the truth is, I would just be more scared.
Yep, the exact same part is going on.
You're not my daughter.
And it sure as hell ain't your dad.
You're right. And I sure as hell ain't your dad.
You're not my daughter.
We are going our separate ways. Get it together. We're not alone.
No. We're going our
There's two buckets. There's more inside already.
And holy, I like how accurate this scene was to the game. Some words are switched up, but it's alright, it's still quite accurate. After Joel goes and grieves about Sarah with flashbacks of her and goes to bed. In the morning, Tommy comes and gets Ellie and brings her to the stables, and Joel is there as well. Joel says to Ellie, you got a choice, but I think you will still be better off with Tommy. And Ellie picks Joel and she says, let's go. Joel and Tommy say their goodbyes, and Tommy says, there's a place here for both of you after you two are done with the Fireflies. Joel asks Tommy for his sniper and gives it to Joel. After Joel and Ellie leave and go do some target practice, and Ellie tries shooting but misses and says the sniper sucks. But Joel teaches Ellie how to shoot properly and shoots the targets dead on. But after Joel and Ellie leave on horseback, and it plays one of my most favorite soundtracks from the game, and I'm gonna let this part play out instead of talking about it because it's so beautiful.
So the way they ran stuff in Jackson, was that how things used to be?
No, the country's too big for that. Back then, there were basically two main ways of looking at things. Some people wanted to own everything, and some people didn't want anyone to own anything at all.
Which one were you?
Neither, I just did my job.
Which was building?
That's right. Houses, stores, that kind of thing. We were called contractors.
The contractor. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we were cool. Everybody loved contractors.
Nice.
After Joel and Ellie make it to the University of Colorado, Ellie asks, what did the people do here? Go to classes, and Joel says,
Yup,
Even though they were adults.
sort of adults. I think it was just as much about partying and finding themselves as anything else. Figuring out what they wanted to do with their lives.
What they wanted to do with their lives.
So I've been thinking. I don't want a sheep ranch, actually. I mean, if the deal is I can do anything.
That's the deal.
Well, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a singer.
Shut up.
Why is that funny?
You gotta sing something now.
No,
Come on, man. I'm not gonna laugh.
you're already laughing.
Yeah, okay, true. Well, you're singing for me later. I'm gonna save the fucking world, man. That's the least you can do for me.
Fair enough.
eventually they see monkeys just like in the video game, and this is Ellie's first time seeing a monkey. They eventually notice a firefly symbol, signifying that the fireflies were here. They notice sound upstairs in one of the labs, and more monkeys are in there, and Ellie says maybe all the research they did turned them all into effing monkeys. But they notice a map saying Salt Lake City, which means the fireflies relocated there. After, there's the sound of bad guys outside, and Joel and Ellie escape out the back of the university. They decide to leave on their horse, and the bad guy tries to hit Joel with a baseball bat and hits the tree, and the baseball bat breaks. After, Joel smashes the guy's head into the tree and chokes him out. After, this happens.
Joel! Get on the horse! Get on the horse! Go! Get back!
Yeah, kinda like in the game, Joel gets injured at the University of Colorado, but difference is, Joel is injured with a broken baseball bat by getting stabbed by it. In the game, Joel gets impaled on a rebar by falling off of a railing by getting pushed by the bad guy. In reality, I think the reason it was switched because, realistically, falling off a railing, you would hit your head and probably die on impact from that high of a fall. In The Walking Dead, main character Rick Grimes fell on a rebar, but it was because of a skittish horse and probably was somewhat inspired by The Last of Us. So I guess it was alright to finally switch this one up in The Last of Us TV show. Watch this, what happened to Rick on The Walking Dead. But after Joel and Ellie escape the bad guys, this is what happens.
Joel? Joel, no, no, no! Shit! Joel? Joel? Shh. Joel, open your eyes. Open your eyes. Joel, you gotta get up. I can't fucking do this without you.
I don't know where the fuck I'm going. What the fuck I'm gonna do. Joel. Please. Joel, please.
And yeah, that's how it ends. Good cliffhanger. Some people who have never seen the game thought Joel has actually died at this part, and I gotta say, they did a good job of making people think that. But yeah, another strong episode in the bag. So I'm gonna give this one a strong 9.0 out of 10. The reason it's not a 10 out of 10 is because the lack of infected. That's my only complaint with The Last of Us TV show. There's 3 episodes left, and hopefully these last 3 have way more infected to make up for the lack of infected. But this episode though did things very well, great acting, and glad we got to see the town Jackson. But anyways, that's it for my HBO's The Last of Us review. If you're a The Last of Us fan, consider subscribing to the channel and ding that bell icon really hard so I can always stay within fast reach of your fingertips when new uploads arrive. ZombfectedGaming 349 over and out. Revolution.